I got it. I'm Steve Taylor from Oakley's Port 33, Catoosa, Oklahoma, private port, downriver from Port of Catoosa. The worst thing, I'm the last guy. The other worst thing is following Gary Beechner, which he's a very good speaker, he's very charismatic, and I'm none of the above. So, we'll go on from there. I have to brag, I'm probably the last oldest standing member with the most years of experience in anybody from the Arkansas River, including Arkansas and Oklahoma. I've learned the hard way because I wouldn't listen to anybody, and I made my own mind up, and I've made my share of mistakes, and I've made my share of successes. I'm very simple, just like Mr. Hucker, only he's lying to you, I'm not. I don't know much, but I guarantee you what, I do know the people that do. And that's very important to me. I've got to admit, in my tenure, some of the rat bastards are either dying off or retiring, and I'm kind of one of the last ones standing. But anyway, in my situations, you'll notice I didn't have anything about what I was supposed to talk about because I didn't know, so I just made it up as I went along. And I want to point some things out to you, and I'm going to go a numerical situation. It was discussed earlier. There used to be a Kansas coalition. We had an organization called ABDA, Arkansas Basin Development Association, which we had strong members from Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and Colorado, Dee Dee. It was before Dee Dee's time, but she heard of it. Strong membership from Kansas. That organization kind of dissolved because it didn't have a need anymore. We let it drop totally on our communications and affiliations with Kansas, and we woke up one day and we said, we don't know a soul from Kansas. And that's not good. We need this support, but Kansas forgot how important this navigation system was to them because nobody knew. Again, that's partly why we're up here. That's why we're here asking for your support, not only for the people in this room, but from everybody else that you know, and the legislatures and all the above. And when Troy wakes up, we're going to give him a test about this. Anyway, so that's kind of the history of ABDA, the old representation, and why we're here today, and why we're begging for your support, because you know what? It's going to hurt Kansas if that Melinda structure fails about as bad as it's going to hurt Oklahoma. It's going to hurt me personally worse. Bruce Oakley Incorporated has a very, very strong presence on the Arkansas River in barges and barge freight. They own barges, in the towing, in the terminaling, in the fertilizer, and the grain. Very strong presence. It's going to hurt bad if something happens, but again, it's going to be spread out equally. Again, so that you've heard this all today, but to drive this point home, on any river system, ag commodities are the controlling factor of any river system, except for maybe the upper Ohio where coal is king, but Obama took care of a lot of that, so they're limping along on that situation. But ag commodities, fertilizer, hope I didn't step on anybody's toes, fertilizer and grains drive the whole industry. So again, it doesn't hurt. You don't have to know all the stuff that Jared out of the box and forward thinking and logistics and Troy Regal and Mike Hucker, Mr. Beechner, but we want you to know kind of what's going on because it's that important to the ag industry and actual industry in your regions. I want to bring up one thing is the truck traffic that hasn't been brought up. We sell, I'm going to say this very lightly, whenever Troy or somebody said 1.5 million tons, and I was trying to figure, well, hell, we did 1.5 million tons of fertilizer at our Port 33 facility. We've done anywhere from 1 million to 1.5 million for the last 5 years. 1.5 million being the peak. 1.5 million That's of our peak of 3.5 million tons at one facility. That's damn near half of what we do. Fertilizer coming in. All fertilizer comes in by barge, unloaded, gets dispersed. All grain comes in by truck and goes down the river. Again, that balance. So again, there's that 2.2 million tons, which it surprised us. Like I said, you know, Gary, how many tons when Dee and Thad got to doing these numbers. You know, Kansas was a lot bigger player in fertilizer than we ever imagined. Now with the soybeans, and I wasn't aware of this, the big increase of the soybeans, somebody was showing us here, maybe it was you, or whoever it was, oh, yeah, Mr. Hucker. That's huge. Years ago, we didn't even have a soybean program at the river. Today, it was all hard red winter wheat, remember, Troy? Today, it's a real close tie. Some years it's soybeans, some years it's wheat, but thank God we've got those ag commodities coming up to replace it. I want to go on a little farther. Petroleum coke that comes from your refineries, we handle all the petroleum coke that goes down the river. That's something out of sight, out of mind. It's an ugly product. It's the bottom of the barrel of your oil refineries. We handle all the pet coke that come out of Coffeyville for years and years, and I say all. Some of it was railed, half of it was sent to the river. But now they have a gasification process that makes fertilizer. So now we unload pet coke when they need more than what they manufacture themselves and send it to them. Also the NCRA refinery, McPherson, Kansas. Those two in Kansas, we handle their petroleum coke. Again, some of it's railed, some of it comes to the river. I tried to get steel pipe and supply right here in your hometown in Manhattan, Kansas. They've been on the river before I came 40 years ago with a terminal at the Port of Catoosa at David's where they unload barge load lots and then disperse them into Kansas. And I passed a truck coming up here yesterday, was coming from Port of Catoosa, Davidsport, I assumed to Manhattan or someplace in Kansas. I'm just hitting some of those points so that I can drive it home to you guys how important that you should realize the river system is to you. The other thing is the truck traffic that you enjoy the revenues from, and maybe that's a double-edged sword, but the truck traffic that comes through the state of Kansas going north, there's a huge amount of that you enjoy the taxes on and whatever else, the fuels that you sell them and everything else, going up, the grain, loading up there, coming back through your state. That's a lot of revenue that hadn't been brought up today. So again, the importance to Kansas, you wouldn't believe if that system goes down or we don't get the support we need to keep it. And I'm sorry, I'm a team player, but I'm going to worry about myself first, because if you and I are on a raft and we're in the middle of the ocean, I'm going to hold on, you're going. I want to save the Arkansas River. I want to save the Upper Miss too. But tell you what, you know what to do to my business if the Upper Miss fails? That'd be a good thing for the Arkansas. I'm not wishing that. But again, I want your support for the Arkansas River.